Welcome back to South Asian Focus. Earlier you saw our profile on groundbreaking publisher Rana Vig. Now he's in the studio with us for an interview. Welcome, Rana.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you on the show. Now, Mehfil magazine is a very popular magazine. Tell us, how did you guys get started?
Well, we started back in 1993. Both myself and my brother Mintu, we had this idea to do something for the community, something positive, because there was always so much negative that we used to read. And that was the way we wanted to make our contribution. And we published it for about 6.5, 7 years, and then we kind of walked away from it for a little bit because we thought, we've done our bit for the community, and we had some other businesses, and we wanted to move forward, and we were hoping somebody else would kind of carry on. But we found that nobody really did, and then wherever we used to go, people would be still talking about it, so we decided to bring it back. And about 3 years ago, we brought it back, and it's been just an amazing success.
So how is Mehfil doing now compared to when you started and where you are now today?
Well, it's doing really well. I mean, and that's one of the reasons why we brought it back, because pretty much everywhere we used to go, people would be still talking about it. And when you've been out of the marketplace for such a long time, and if people are still talking about your product, you must have done something right. So it's doing exceptionally well. We have a database of 25,000 that we sent out to mostly Indian clientele, and it's been phenomenal.
Now, one of the things that I notice about your magazine compared to other magazines always have a specific genre that they're catering to, but you decided to make it different.
Well, Indo-Canadian households are a little bit different. There's multi-generations living under one roof. So you're right, most magazines are very, very narrow. They're very, very specific. We tend to go the other way. We go the opposite, because we have to remember that there are young people living in that household, there are young couples living in that household, and then there's their parents. So we're hitting 3 generations, and that's what makes the product a little bit different and a little bit unique. And it's, but our main target still is that demographic that has that disposable income, because they're the one who are going to buy the products and services that our advertisers are trying to, to market them. So it is a little bit different, and that's really what our success formula is. Now,
your magazine on it, it's for the Indo-Canadians, it says, but how about the mainstream? What kind of reaction have you been getting?
Well, it's been phenomenal. In fact, about a quarter of our readership is non-Indian, because it's really a window into the Indo-Canadian world. So it's been received very well. And also, most ethnic publications don't go to the extent that we go to make it really look polished, look professional. The writing is really good, because we hire the top-notch writers that we can find out there, and visually appealing. We use some of the best photographers here in the city. So when you combine all that and you package it nicely, the mainstream accepts that.
Now, Vancouver and even Canada in general has a really diverse South Asian community. They have Sikhs, Hindu, Muslims. How does your magazine cater to all of these different religions and cultures?
That's an excellent point. And again, we are very, very conscious of that fact. And we've always just made a mental decision, a conscious decision of this, to make sure that we include everybody. So, we're fairly well connected into the community, into the different communities, and we just make sure that when we're profiling, when we're bringing up stories, it's not necessarily always skewed to one side. The predominant population, of course, here is Punjabi. So, you're going to always get a little bit more of that, because that's just the way it is. There's about 80% of the population, in fact, is from the province of Punjab. So, but we make an effort to make sure that we have stories in there, or profiles in there that cover the Ismaili community, the Hindu community, the Muslim community. And I think if you lay out our magazines and you look at it over the years, it becomes quite obvious.
We talked to your brother, and he said you guys grew up as Sikhs. Your parents are, very traditional Sikhs, and your parents, your wife, your brother, everyone's involved in the magazine. Mm-hmm. Family is so important. How has that helped the success of the magazine?
I think it's the glue. I think it's one of the advantages, competitive advantages that we have, because lots of magazines have come and gone over the years. Most of them never are not able to make it, because I think family is so critical but in a business environment like that we have here, because it's a very tough business, it makes it even more important, because you need not only that mental support when things aren't going well, but you need to draw on experience, because again, we are the target audience. So when we sit together as a family and we discuss issues, it becomes very quickly apparent to us what really we need to discuss in this publication to make it successful. So I think that's a real strength that we have.
Now, Mehfil magazine, magazine's been a success, it's doing well. What other areas of the media or the industry do you think that you'd like to expand into?
Well, we're expanding into the advertising field. One of the facts of our community is that it's very, very affluent. So, and it's growing very, very rapidly. In fact, I read a statistic not too long ago that 70% of all growth that's going to take place here in Canada over the next decade is going to be from immigration. India leads that. So all these new immigrants that are going to be coming in here, they're a tremendous a source for businesses, both mainstream and non-mainstream or Indian. So many of these marketers, of course, want to get into this market because of the huge disposable income that's available to them. There's not many people in that field, and we've been approached many times, and we have an advertising agency, and so we're really looking into expanding on that side of things and helping some of the major corporations. We've done lots of work already for government and some other private major companies, and we hope to expand that.
Okay. Now, media, sometimes media can portray, especially people in the South Asian community, can portray them in a negative way, whether it's Muslims or with Sikhs. How do you think media, especially the kind of media that you're involved in, can help with that?
Well, I think that our role is, our mandate is to bring out the positive. Newspapers, have to create, well, not so much create, but have to report negative stories. I guess they don't have to, but they choose to because that's what sells the papers, and that's the reality of the business. Our mandate is a little bit different. We want to make sure that we are always bringing out the positive because there's lots of positives. I think people don't realize that there are many, many people of Indian origin in this country that are in amazing positions of influence in middle management and upper management in both private companies as well as government. We want to bring those forward, these people, whether they're entrepreneurs, whether they're in the arts, wherever they might be, so that the new generation, the young generation in this country can have access to information like that, because when I was growing up, we didn't have such role models. So I think that what we really try to do is we try to show all of the positives in the community. We don't shy away from the negatives. Don't get me wrong. We deal with issues that are negative, but our prime focus is always to try to bring the best of the community forward.
Okay, that's wonderful, and I think Mehfil's doing a wonderful job. What are some of the future plans for the magazine and for you? Well,
we hope to expand into other markets. There are, of course, Vancouver and Greater Vancouver is growing rapidly, but cities like Edmonton and Calgary and Winnipeg and Toronto, they're all growing, with the Indo-Canadian population. So we hope to be expanding into those markets very, very soon. And personally, well, I have a young family, and there's lots of things that I want to do that hopefully I'm going to be in a position to do. I love photography. I think I need to grow in the spiritual realm. So there's lots of different areas. So just gotta, make time to work on some of those areas in our life.
So how does your magazine foster a sense of community?
Well, somehow we try to be visible everywhere, wherever we go. We have an example would be our community cruiser program. We have a very highly visible, very colorful vehicle. I don't know if you've seen it, but people can spot it from 3 kilometers. We try to go to all sorts of different events to try to interact with our audience. That's a very important aspect of our involvement in the community. And then, we're everywhere. We're on airlines. We're on Air Canada flights from Vancouver to Delhi. We're on Singapore Airlines from Vancouver to Delhi. We're just got on Canadian Eastern Airlines. So, we're trying to basically be visible so that we can continue to connect with our audience.
So how do you and the magazine remain impartial and not cross those lines that might offend one community or another?
Well, I think we always take a step back and make sure that our bias isn't influenced. If we're running a column, that's different. Now we don't do many of columns, and that's where we would put forth our opinions. We have done it in the past. We've tackled with some very, very controversial issues. One was the UBC Sikh chair. There was a huge controversy around it, and we took a position on it, but that was a column. But in terms of an editorial stance, we are always try to remove ourselves and do good effective reporting, which and let the audience make that decision.
Does MEFIL make a concentrated effort to be more aspirational, to open up the eyes of the people in the community?
Oh, absolutely. I think we are always constantly thinking about that. We have, for example, we do a column that's written by Azim Jamal, which is a phenomenal writer and a great speaker. That's more of a spiritual, uplifting kind of a column that we present. And we're always looking at the successful people. You know, how have they made it? You know, whether they're in business or non-business, how have they achieved their success? So that, you know, young people today can read about those and, you know, have some role models in the community.
Well, thank you very much, Rana, for joining us, and good luck in the future.
Thank you for having me.
Rana Vig.